So today I'm going to be doing a video on the half high-end, half drugstore makeup look. I have been excited when I see these around and I've always wanted to do one, so here we go. This is the look I created. Can you see a difference? Maybe, maybe not. But let's get into the video. I'm going to be telling you every product, of course, from the high-end and the drugstore, and I will be putting the prices on the screen so you compare them, and at the end we will discuss the total. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so we're going to do the half high-end, half drugstore. I already got all my products out here, and I really kind of wish I did this video before I did my massive makeup clear out, which you guys know about if you watch my makeup collection video, which will be linked in the screen here if you have not seen it. There's some things here that are really good dupes of each other, but there's a bunch of stuff I knew that I chucked out that was really good dupes for the things that I've got here. And the reason I chucked them out is simply because they were the same thing, and I just didn't want the clutter. So I will tell you guys when I think something is a good dupe, but otherwise it's just an alternative. So there's going to be a very long video, so I guess, so let's just get into it. This side's going to be high-end, this side is going to be drugstore. Okay, so starting with the high-end, I'm going to start with primer. I'm using my Marc Jacobs Coconut Water Face Primer. This is very raved about. I really like this primer. It is very nice. I don't really know. I need to do like a test on the longevity really of it because I'm not 100%. But I'll just put this on this side. And then the alternative primer I'm going to use for the drugstore is the Max Factor Facefinity All Day Primer, and it extends the wear foundation. It has SPF 20 in it as well. This is definitely a lot thicker. Way thicker than the Marc Jacobs one. Let's go on to foundation. For high-end, I'm going to be using my Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Ultra Liquid Foundation. This is a really nice, natural, luminous foundation. And just blend that in. Just like that. And then I'm going to clear the brush, and for my drugstore alternative is the L'Oreal Lumière Magique Fond de Teint, and this again is a very sort of dewy, natural, luminous foundation, which I think is the best compared to this one. I wouldn't call it an exact dupe, but I would say it's pretty good. It's a little bit lighter though, so good thing I'm not going out after this. Okay, so that's that done. I think I can see, my camera's quite far away, but I think there's a little bit of a colour difference. It's not too dramatic in person, but there's definitely, you can tell it's different products. Also, it's funny to see how it reacts from the brush. Like the L'Oreal one, it picks up the brush marks a lot easier than the other one does, but as you can see, they're both very luminous and just glowy and very dewy. Now we're going to go ahead and go on to concealer. Now these two I would call dupes for sure. So for the high-end concealer, I'm using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Flawless Wear Concealer. This is very full coverage. It is brilliant. I wouldn't typically use it underneath my eye, but because I'm obviously doing this video, I have to substitute some things. I usually only use this over blemishes, and that is usually whatever I use it for, and I'll use the drugstore one underneath my eyes, my Maybelline Color Stay, which is my favourite. But obviously because we are doing this, I'm going to use it underneath my eyes, so just taking my e.l.f. foundation brush, I'm going to blend that in underneath my eyes. It is super full coverage. Wow, it is like a lot. That's why I don't tend to use it under my eye unless I'm doing like a full double wear look where it needs to be like stay in place bulletproof makeup. There we go. And then the drugstore dupe for this is absolutely the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer. This again is, I would almost say, the same stuff, different bottle. It is a little bit more dry than the Estee Lauder one, but in all honesty, this is, you know, this is still just as good. And in fact, I do use this one underneath my eyes. So it is a little bit more glidable, even though it's more dry, which doesn't really make sense, but There you go. And this is an absolute fraction of the price. It's like £3 or £4 now. Because it used to be super cheap, but they upped the price because they knew it was getting very popular. But it just does the exact same thing. Alright, so my base is now almost done. So at this point I'm going to go in with a face powder. Now the two I've chosen are different colours and they're going to look a bit strange, so I'm not sure how this is going to come out. So for the high end I'm going to be using my Kat Von D Locket Tattoo Powder Foundation. I use very little bit of this as a setting powder, and this one is a very, very light shade. At the moment it's my favourite because it's matching me perfect, but every other day it is, well, and when I'm a little bit tan it's far too light, so I just take a little bit of that and just go ahead and set, just to get rid of that little bit of that dewiness, because I do want it to stay in place usually. And then for my drugstore face powder, I'm going to be using my absolute favorite Revlon Color Stay. And this is a slightly darker, as you can see, which is why I was a little bit concerned, but I think it should come off okay. And this again is one of my favorite powders because it helps do the same thing. You get to keep your shine and your sort of radiance from a foundation that is going to give it to you. And then also have the sort of matte. So I always love velvet matte. I've never really been a fan of full matte because it just looks completely unnatural. But I'm also not really a fan of the super dewy because it usually is not very good staying power. So that is both sides. I don't think it came off too bad. I think we got away with that one. So let's go on to bronzers. So these two are exact dupes for each other. I'm so happy. I literally looked at them when I was looking through what to use, and these just look identical. So for high-end bronzer, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Beached Bronzer in Bronzed, which is the darker version of the bronzer. I'm just going to go ahead and take a fluffy brush and get a little bit of that on there and just bronze up. This is a matte bronzer. It's just supposed to give you that really ideal bronzed, just simple bronzed up look. So that's the bronze on the high end side. And then the dupe central for this one is definitely the NYC Smooth Skin Sunny Bronzer. That looks like this, because it looks, I hit pan on this obviously as you can see because it's in so much love, but if I put them next to each other, guys, they look absolutely identical. Oh, on camera they're looking a little bit different, I think, but they are in person really identical. They're both really pink toned. This one's a little bit more neutral, this one is a little bit more pink, but other than that they are exactly the same. So I'm just taking a little bit of that one on here. But that's it. Can you see that? Not much difference at all. Love it. Then we're going to go on to blush. So for the high-end side, I'm going to be using my MAC blush in Love Cloud. It's just a pink, very nice light pink blush. And then for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the Physicians Formula Happy Booster Blush in just pink, which again is a really nice colour. And I think they are quite nice dupes for each other, but this one is more luminous, whereas the MAC one is not quite as luminous. And then of course the highlight. So for high end, I'm going to go ahead and use my YSL limited edition glow enhancing pressed powder, and it just looks like this. It's a shimmery light pink. I'm just going to apply that on with this brush here. And then the drugstore alternative, I'm going to be using the MUA Undress Your Skin in, I don't even know what this is, the pink one. I don't know, this says new on it, it's not new, I've had it forever. But this is just a really, really nice, easy go-to cheap highlight. I would describe this a lot more as pearly compared to the one I just used. This one's more glittery. This one's actually more pearly and more luminous. As you can see, that catches the light a little bit more than that one because of the pearl. But just like that. Okay, on to eyebrows. So for the high-end side, let me just brush them out a little bit because they got a little bit messy in transit. For the high-end side, I'm going to be using my Lancome Sources Gel Waterproof Eyebrow Gel Cream in number 4. And this is like so good, honestly. It is my favourite. Not that I've tried like loads of them, but this one is very good. And for the availability in the UK, because obviously everybody went nuts for the Anastasia one. But at the time, I mean, the availability now is absolutely fine. You can get it online, no problem. But, you know, people are more keen to buy when they can get it, like, really easily. So, I'm not even going to do my brows well. I'm just going to run it through, because obviously this video is just to sort of see the difference. So we're not looking on makeup skills here, we're just looking on the difference so you can see it. And if you have been wondering about my brushes, I have been sort of just patting them, like cleaning them while off camera when swapping products. So they're not being like directly used one product and then like tapped into the next one, because I know how you guys might think that that's what's happening, but it's not. They're being slightly cleaned on the tissues I've been throwing away. So that is the Lancome Brow Gel. It glides on so amazing, and it just feels, it's just a really good product. I am not gonna lie, it is very, very good. So then for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the Freedom eyebrow pomade in dark brown. This one is slightly darker than my Lancome one, and I'm worried it's going to come off a little bit on camera. The only problem I have with this one is I love the colour, I love the way it comes off, but it does dry up much more quicker. It's harder to get the product out of the container. I might have to pop it in the microwave for a minute because it doesn't come out too easy. When the Lancome one is a proper, like, as it says, cream, it comes off really, really easy. Like I said, obviously ignore the skills, they're not looking great at the moment, these brows, but we're doing it pretty speedy, so that's what's happening. So now we're going to go on to eyes. Now for the high end, I'm going to be using my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, of course. It's one of my favourites. It is just like a concealer colour. In fact, it could be like a concealer. It is a little bit more grey toned, but formula wise and like packaging wise, you might think it is a concealer. So it sort of drags on the concept of people who like to use concealer as primer. I definitely do not recommend that because primers, you know, they're not that expensive and they are one of the best investments you can make in your makeup. However, saying that, for my drugstore side, I'm gonna have to use my, go back to my concealer from earlier, the Collection Lasting Perfection, because I actually don't have a drugstore eye primer, and that is because I chucked them all away because I never used them when I was doing my clear out. But I did used to have loads. I used to have like the e.l.f. one, I used to have the NYC one, not NYC, it was something else, I can't remember, but anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and try and put concealer on my lids. Like I said, it's not my favorite thing. I don't know why, it just makes me feel weird. Like I'm like, no, primer. So this was the hardest task, eyeshadow. I don't have any exact colors, but these ones turned out pretty well, and I dug this palette out from basically the depths of my palette collection. Again, I went through it all and cleared a lot of it out, but this one still remained because I did like it, but I don't use it enough. For my high-end eye, I'm going to be using the Smashbox Full Exposure palette, and this is what it looks like. I've kept the brush in there. You've got a row of shimmers and a row of mattes, and how it's supposed to work is you're supposed to be their nice combination sort of together. So you've got a darker one here. I loved these colours here. These three shimmery ones were absolutely amazing, and the mattes as well are brilliant. And I still really like this palette, I just haven't dug it out enough. I'm just going to do very basic, like I said. I'm going to grab a little bit of the light colour and just put that all over the lid to set the primer. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this light brown shade here and just run that through the crease. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the little tiny bit of the darker colour. So I'm just looking at the drugstore palette I've got just to make sure they match up. So I'm mixing them two together here, as you can see. and we'll just run that through, focus it on the outer corner and run it through the crease to the end. Such a basic eye, I can't even tell you guys. I'm just going to blend it out with a clean brush. And then I'm going to go ahead and just take one of these colors in here, and I think it's going to have to be this one down here. So it's a shimmery brownie color. In fact, I might mix these two together because that one might be a little bit dark, and I'm just going to apply that all over the lid. Oh, I forgot how nice these were. They're like very, very sparkly. It just looks like that. That is so, I forgot how much I liked this palette. Oh my gosh. And then I'm just going to take a clean brush of this and go in to the matte white cream again and just use that as the highlight to finish up the eye look. So that is the high-end eye look. And then for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the, I think this was limited edition, unless it was just limited edition packaging, the Wet n Wild Nude Awakening palette, but I'm going to be using just this side. But to be honest, this palette is quite a good dupe for the full exposure because you've got your navies in there as well. So you've got the two navies down here, and you've got the navies here, you've got the darker browns, the warmer browns. The only thing you haven't got a variety of in here is more of the four in the middle of the lighter colours. But other than that, it's the same concept. Taking the fluffy brush again, I'm going to take the light brow bone colour, just put that all over the lid. I'm going to go ahead and take the crease colour. These are so, this honestly, so buttery and nice. They're not, as you can see as I'm putting it on, they're not as pigmented as the Smashbox ones, but they're definitely still great eyeshadows. I'm going to go ahead and mix those two together, which is this dark one at the bottom. It is a bit different than the last one we've just used. It's got a little bit more of a green tone to it, but it's not like green, so it just looks a little bit more like a sort of khaki, darker. But you know what? That's not coming out bad. I did think it would be worse, but they don't look evidently different, so. Okay, so that's the crease done, and then I'm going to go ahead and use the brush and use the eyelid colour. Now this one is more of a shimmer rather, like pearlescent shimmer rather than actual glitter. So this is the only thing that I'm seeing that's sort of different, but it's the same tone and same sort of shimmery dark colour. I even do the same thing and go in with my finger. So this side simply has just got glitter, this side is a little bit more of just the shimmer. So just like that. And then we're going to go back in with the brow bone colour and put it on the brow bone. Alright then, for eyeliner, I'm going to be using brown eyeliners. So for the high-end side, I'm going to be using the Sigma Automatic No. 6 eyeliner pencil. It's just a nice brown. And I'm going to put that in the waterline. And then for the drugstore version, I'm going to be using my very much loved Jordana 12 Hour Made to Last Liquid Eyeliner Pencil. And I'm just going to pop that one in the waterline as well. They're both identical browns. They're both great. I must admit, I think I prefer the Jordana one a little bit more. It just glides on a little bit better. But other than that, also it looks a little bit more red toned. Yeah, that's the only thing. This looks a little bit more red toned. This is a bit more black toned. But that is that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and curl my eyelashes. We're not doing eyelash curler high-end in drugstore. This is just one I got from Love Me Beauty. I'm just going to curl normally like that. So for high-end mascara, I'm going to be using my Lancome Doll Eyes, Hypnose Doll Eyes, sorry, mascara on this side. And then for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume in Extreme Black. Now these are completely different mascaras, but they're just the ones that I'm using at the moment. And if I'm completely honest, I think mascara is one of the biggest cons, because to be honest, I feel like every mascara has the same formula. It's just the brush and packaging. Wow, that happens. Honestly, that's happened every time I have used this brush, because look how thick that wand is and then how thick the like bristles are. It is so hard not to touch your eye with it. I feel like mascaras just change their packaging and their wand a little bit and they call it a new mascara, which kind of pisses me off because, yeah, but you know, whatever. See, it's gone. So easy. Just use a Q-tip. It's the best thing ever. Okay, now we're going to go on to the last thing, which is lips. Again, this is something I found a little bit more difficult for some reason to match to, but I'm going to use a lip liner and a lip product. So for the high-end lip liner, I'm going to be using the Double Wear Stay in Place lip liner. Oh, no, I'm not, because it's blunt. So I'm going to use the MAC one then. The MAC Oh Honey lip liner, which is also blunt. I can't find a good sharpener, guys. I need to get like the Urban Decay Grindhouse, I think, because that one's good. And then for the drugstore end, I'm going to be using the Essence lip liner in Nude. So I'd just say that this one's a little bit more grey tone, that one's a little bit more peach tone. Then for lip products, for the high-end side, I'm going to be using the NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in Walkery, which is this sort of darker nude. When you rub your lips, it feels weird as well. Oh my god, there we go. Okay, let's hurry up. Okay, the next one I'm putting on for drugstore is my Gerard Cosmetics in 1995. This actually was a really good match to this one, if you guys can see. And that's that side. I don't know how different it looks on camera, oh my god. Ta-da! And that's it for my half high-end, half drugstore look. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. What did you think of the outcome? I would say the only thing that looks dramatically different to me is the lips. It's not even dramatic, just this side's a little bit more darker, this is a little bit more lighter. But everything else, I mean, even the eyeshadows come out better than I expected, honestly. This side is obviously more glittery, this side is more shimmery, but I think it was a success overall. So as you can see by the total amounts on the screen now, this is how much this side of my face costs to do all of this, and then this is how much this side of the face cost to do this. Now whatever the price difference is, I'm going to put it here. Obviously I'm just doing my video at the moment, so I don't know, but whatever this is, that is the price difference. Do we really need to spend it? Just looking in the mirror, honestly, there is a couple of things that I think look nicer, but overall I imagine the saving is pretty big on all of this, and I'm gonna say that there's absolutely no need to buy the high-end products. I will continue to, obviously, on certain things, but this is just to prove that you don't need the best of the best with makeup. Drugstore is just as good, and in fact most of it is the same stuff because most of it is owned by the same companies that own the high-end brands, so it's just completely repackaging, maybe a little few different products, different ingredients, sorry. And that's about it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe and like and follow me on my social media, and I will see you all in my next video. Stay beautiful and ciao!